Hey, hey, hey. So we back 1 year reading Bible plan. And today, January 6th. January 6th, we read in Genesis 15, verse 1, chapter 17, verse 27. And recap from yesterday. Yesterday we read Genesis 12 through 14. The recap was what we read Genesis 12. Let's see. So God called Abraham. He tell him, look, I'm make your name great. Many nations gonna come from you. He make an agreement with Abraham. He like, I'm a bless who bless you. I'm a curse who curse you. There it is. Um, God also tell Abram to leave from among his daddy's people. But he ended up taking Lot with him. God said, leave your daddy people. Leave the land that you in with your daddy folks and pack up, go. He ended up doing that, but he ended up taking his nephew with him. He took his wife, the nephew, the servants that they had, everything they had. They left. The place that they ended up going to didn't have no food. So he like, okay, cool. We finna go to Egypt. But Sarai, since you find this wine, we gonna come up with this plan. Tell these folks when we get to Egypt, tell them you my sister and not my wife, because I'm afraid they're gonna kill me and keep you. Um, so just lie. Say you my sister so you can save my life, keep me alive. So they end up getting to Egypt. Him and Sarai followed through with that plan and did just that. Pharaoh. Pharaoh is an Egyptian king. So Pharaoh ended up finding out because of all the diseases that God ended up sending towards Pharaoh. Pharaoh ended up finding out, like, look, you lied to me. You told me that this was your sister when really she your wife. Whole time I wanted to take her to be my wife, but now I see that this your wife. So get your wife, go. Please go. Get up out of here. So that is the recap of chapter 12 in Genesis. Chapter 13. Um uh Abram returns back to Canaan. While he's there, while they traveling, his nephew that he was never supposed to take with him, they end up in an argument. It was either Abram and Lot arguing, or it was either Abram's servants and shepherds and Lot's servants and shepherds. They end up arguing amongst each other. Abram like, look, I ain't finna keep doing all this arguing. What we arguing for? You my nephew. He like, we just gonna separate. You look around where you wanna go. If you go left, I go right. You go right, I go left. Lot end up picking a place where he wanted to go. They end up separating. That's how that went. Um, Chapter 14 in Genesis. Um, we read about the four kings fighting against the five kings. One of the four kings was King Chedorlaomer. All of these kings, the four and the five, all served Chedorlaomer, King Chedorlaomer, once upon a time for about 12 years. And the 13th year, they end up rebelling against King Chedorlaomer. So it ended up being smoke. They end up going to war. So they like, look, we gonna meet in the Valley of Siddim. We gonna get it in. The four kings end up defeating the five kings, but Lot, which is Abram's nephew, end up getting caught in a line of fire of that defeat. So um, one of the five kings had authority or had dominion over a territory where Lot was staying when he left Abram. When that king lost the fight against the four kings, Lot, everything and all their stuff, the king basically just got everybody captured. Basically, all their stuff got taken, the wives, the kids, everything got captured in battle. Basically, Lot was one of the people who got caught in a line of fire. So somebody who escaped from that jam ended up running back telling Abram, like, look, they got your nephew. Abram like, okay. So Abram ended up calling a squad, calling family members. It ended up being like 318 of them, plus some extra men that made an agreement to help each other and help Abram. They all planned this surprise attack against those 4 kings that won the battle against the 5 kings. So they strike back, chase them down, get Lot and everything he owned back. By the end of Genesis 14, um, Abram end up encountering or going to the priest. The priest end up blessing Abram. One of the 5 kings that lost the battle went to Abram like, look, my people that was captured in battle that you just won back, can you give me my people back? Abram like, look, you can have your people. Don't want them. That's the recap from yesterday. And today we are reading Genesis 15 through Genesis chapter 15 through Genesis chapter 17. Let's read. Genesis chapter 15. After all these things happened, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. God said, Abram, don't be afraid. I'll defend you and give you a great reward. Defend. Defend means to protect from harm or danger. So God is telling Abram, I will protect you from harm and danger, and I will give you a great reward. Verse 2. But Abram said, Lord, there is nothing you can give me that'll make me happy because I have no son. My slave Eliezer from Damascus will get everything I own after I die. Abram said, you have given me no son, so a slave born in my house will get everything I have. Verse 4, then the Lord spoke to Abram and said, that slave will not be the one to get what you have. You will have a son who will get everything you own. Then God led Abram outside and said, look at the sky. See the many stars? There are so many you cannot count them. Your family will be like that. Abram believed the Lord, and because of this faith, the Lord accepted him as one who has done what is right. So faith in the Lord equals righteousness is what I get from verse 6. Verse 7, he said to Abram, I'm the Lord who led you from Ur of Babylonia. I did this so that I could give you this land. You will own this land. But Abram said, Lord God, how can I be sure that I get this land? God said to Abram, we'll make an agreement. Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon. Abram brought all these to God. Abram killed the animals and cut each of them into 2 pieces. Then he laid each half across from the other half. He did not cut the bird into 2 pieces. Later, large birds flew down to eat the animals, but Abram chased them away. The sun began to go down and Abram got very sleepy. While he was asleep, a very terrible darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to Abram, you should know this. Your descendants will live in a country that is not their own. They will be strangers there. The people there will make them slaves and be cruel to them for 400 years. But then I punish the nation that made them slaves. Your people will leave that land and they will take many good things with them. You yourself will live to be very old. You will die in peace and you will be buried with your family. Excuse me. After 4 generations, your people will come to this land again and defeat the Amorites. That'll happen in the future because the Amorites are not yet guilty enough to lose their land. Who are the Amorites? Amorites are powerful people. They are powerful people who were building empires and kingdoms. Those were the Amorites. Who the Abram descendants, kingdoms lived in the promised land before. Yeah, these Amorites were uh powerful people who built empires and kingdoms that stayed in the land before Abram's descendants ended up inhabiting the land. So those were the Amorites. After the sun went down, verse 17, it got very dark. The dead animals were still on the ground, each animal cut into 2 pieces. Then a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passed between the halves of the dead animals. So on that day, the Lord made a promise and an agreement with Abram. He said, I get his land to your descendants. I get them the land between the river of Egypt and the great river Euphrates. This is the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. So what God is saying is the land that these Kenites, Kenizzites, Canaanites, out of the land that they stand is the land that I'm gonna give you. Can somebody say the wealth of the wicked to be stored up for the righteous? That's what it's given. So they stand in this land right now, but they're going to be driven out of this land, defeated in battle, and then Abram's descendants that God is promising he'll have many of will then take on this promised land. So what type of people are these? These Kenites and all these type of people. A lot of these are descendants of Canaan, the grandson of Noah that he ended up cursing. Some of these are Canaan's descendants. Some of these are Cain's descendant, Adam and Eve, son that killed his brother. Some of these are his descendants. Some of these are metal workers, which is like welders in our time. Some of them practice witchcraft and sacrifice children. They worship multiple gods. They have a polytheistic religion type foundation. So these are the type of people. Some of these are villagers, which means that they stay in a rural area, not an urban area. So like we I'm staying in Memphis, that's the city. But people who stay in the country, the villagers is like people who stay in the country, who will be like them country folk. So these are the type of people that stand in the land right now where Abram descendants is gonna come and inhabit. Um Chapter 16. Sarai was Abram's wife, but she did not have any children. She had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. Sarai told Abram, "The Lord has not allowed me to have children, so sleep with my slave. Maybe she can have a son, and I'll accept him as my own." Abram did what Sarai said. Look, these men in the Old Testament have got to stop listening to their wives. Like Abram, have you learned anything from Adam? Your wife is gonna get you in a whole heap of trouble. Verse 3. So after living 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai gave her Egyptian slave to Abram as a second wife. Like there's no pushback, there's no arguing that. It's just okay. Sleep with Hagar. Abram slept with Hagar and she became pregnant. When Hagar realized this, she became very proud and began to feel that she was better than than Sarai, her owner. Then Sarai said to Abram, "My slave girl now hates me, and I blame you for this. I gave her to you and she became pregnant. Then she began to feel that she is better than I am. I want the Lord to judge which of us is right." It won't be you, Sarah. It won't be you, because why would you even give this woman to, like, you couldn't have thought this through. You so got tunnel vision on having this child that you're not thinking of all the other possibilities that could happen. And now um your slave is slaving you. This is what it's given. Like, verse 6. But Abram said to Sarai, "She is your slave. You can do anything you want to her." So Sarai was cruel to Hagar, and Hagar ran away. The meaning of cruel is to cause pain and suffering. So the Bible, the Bible kind of watered this down, but can you just imagine like how painful, how cruel the suffering that she was like? She probably was slapping Hagar, being abusive. She probably was knocking down water, like pick that up. Like, women get petty. You know, they get real petty and catty when it comes to competition. So ain't no telling how far Sarai was taking this for real. um Verse 7. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring of water in the desert. The spring was by the road of Shur. The angel said, "Hagar, Sarai's slave girl, why are you here? Where you going?" Hagar said, "I'm running away from Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Sarai is your owner. Go home to her and obey her." The angel of the Lord also said, "From you will come many people, too many to count." Then the angel of the Lord said, "Hagar, you are now pregnant and you will have a son. You will name him Ishmael, because the Lord has heard that you were treated badly. Ishmael will be wild and free like a wild donkey. He'll be against everyone, and everyone will be against him. He'll move from place to place and camp near his brothers. Verse 13, the Lord talked to Hagar. She began to use a name for God. She said to him, "You are God who sees me." She said this because she thought, I see that even in this place, God sees me and cares for me. So the well there was called Beer Lahai Roi. It is between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram named the son Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Ishmael was born from Hagar. So, look, Hagar, like, look, I ain't got time for this. I'm going to get on down because she being low down at this point. Like, Hagar, you asked for it a little bit, though. Like, you start feeling yourself. You start smelling yourself a little bit too much. She probably like, yeah, girl can't even have a baby. Like, ain't no telling what Hagar was doing. But they said she was belittling Sarai. This your boss. How you doing it like that? But Sarai brought it on herself. Hagar gets on down. She said, I ain't got time for this. Angel of the Lord, stop her on the track. Look, go back home. Go back. You carrying that man child, and she own you at this point. Like, gone back. We gonna figure something out. We gonna make it right. Verse 17, and it's our last chapter for today. So when Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him. He said, I'm God all powerful. Obey me and live the right way. If you do this, I prepare an agreement between us. I promise to make your people a great nation. Pause. So at the end of Genesis 16, when Abram had when Abram had Ishmael, Abram was 86 years old. Fast forward, Abram is now 99 years old. It's been 13 years. Ishmael is now 13 years old. At this point, God appears to Abram again and said, look, obey me and live the right way. So ain't no telling how Abram was living at this point. But God, like, look, start doing the right thing. If you do this, I prepare an agreement between us. I promise. So look like God is giving Abram a fresh start. Look, stop, drop, do the right thing. Excuse me. Verse 3, then Abram bowed down before God. God said to him, this is my part of the agreement. I'll make you the father of many nations. I'll change your name from Abram to Abraham, because I'm making you the father of many nations. So Abram get a name change. He goes from Abram to Abraham. He's now Abraham now. I give you many descendants. In verse 6, new nations and kings will come from you, and I prepare an agreement between me and you. This agreement will also be for all your descendants, meaning everybody who come after you. It'll continue forever. I'll be your God and the God of your descendants, and I get this land to you and to all your descendants. I give you the land you are traveling through, the land of Canaan. I give this land, I give you this land forever, and I'll be your God. Verse 9. Then God said to Abraham, now this is your part of the agreement. You and all your descendants will obey my agreement. This is my agreement that all of you must obey. This is the agreement between me and you and all your descendants. Every male must be circumcised. You will cut the skin to show that you follow the agreement between me and you. When the baby boy is 8 days old, you will circumcise him. Every boy born among your people and every boy who is a slave of your people must be circumcised. So every baby boy in your nation will be circumcised. Every boy who is born from your family or bought as a slave will be circumcised. Abraham, this is the agreement between you and me. Any male who is not circumcised will be cut off from his people because he has broken my agreement. Pause. So Abram is now 99 years old, getting ready to be circumcised. Ishmael, which is his son, firstborn son, is 13 years old, getting ready to be circumcised. All of Abram's slaves that stay in his house are getting ready to be circumcised. Anybody who end up coming later on, whether if they in his nation, circumcision is what is given. Verse 15, God said to Abraham, I give Sarai, your wife, a new name. Her new name will be Sarah. So Sarai got a new name change. Sarah, I bless her. Verse 16, I give her a son, and you will be the father. She'll be the mother of many new nations. Kings of nations will come from her. Verse 17, Abraham bowed his face to the ground to show he respected God, but he laughed and said to himself, I'm 100 years old. I cannot have a son, and Sarah is 90 years old. She cannot have a child. Then Abram said to God, I hope Ishmael will live and serve you. Verse 19, God said, no. I said that your wife Sarah will have a son. You will name him Isaac. I'll make my agreement with him that'll continue forever with all his descendants. You mentioned Ishmael, and I heard you. I bless him, and he'll have many children. He'll be the father of 12 great leaders. His family will become a great nation. But I will make my agreement with Isaac, the son who Sarah will have. He'll be born at this same time next year. Okay. After God finished talking with Abraham, God went up into heaven. Verse 23, then Abraham gathered together Ishmael and all the slaves born in his house. He also gathered all the slaves he had bought. Every man and boy in Abraham's house was gathered together, and they were all circumcised. Abraham circumcised them that day, just as God had told him to do. My Lord. Verse 24, Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised. Abraham and his son were circumcised on the same day. Also, on that day, all the men in Abraham's house were circumcised, all the slaves born in his house and all the slaves he had bought were circumcised. Interesting. And that's the end of our reading today. So, can y'all imagine the screaming? Like, Lord, where was the anesthesia? Because we performing this procedure, and this is before anesthesia was a factor. Like, can you imagine the amount of screaming that went on in Abraham's house on that day? Everybody just gathered around waiting to be next to get snipped. Can you imagine the hiring process when Abram started taking people to be his slave? It's like, look, you either get snipped or you get skipped. You don't get snipped, you get cut off from my people. All my people, this the agreement we made with the Lord. Got to be circumcised. My Lord. That's our reading for today. We be back tomorrow, January 7th. We're doing great in the book of Genesis. Love y'all. Goodbye.